Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we want to talk Westworld. So we won't be Westworld until 2018. We will get our second season, however, and as I understand it, there is already enough material to go 5 seasons. If Westworld can go the distance, which it probably will, as it's already quite successful. Now, this is a spoiler territory situation. Although I could be totally wrong in this prediction, or I could be spot on. So, I don't want to ruin it for you guys that maybe haven't thought of this. But today I'm going to unleash some theories that may explain what's going to ultimately happen in Westworld. I've looked around, I haven't heard this yet, and as I said before, I could be totally off. However, we've got a ton of theories wrong already online, so one more probably won't hurt us. So if you decided to stay or go, I will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I have a theory that the Westworld host will turn out to be no other than us. And what I mean by us, you and I, human beings, the human race, that they will be a form of prehistoric human beings. And I know some of you all are going, that is just utterly ridiculous. So let's explore how I arrived at this conclusion and why I think this may end up being the case. So first, let's talk timeline of when Westworld happens. Nobody really knows. It's a big secret. But why is it a big secret? There's no reason to keep this date in question. We've already discovered many things. We discovered many hosts amongst humans humans that were actually hosts. We've discovered Dolores has gained consciousness. We've discovered many things. Why is the date such a big deal? Unless it's a date that will create a problem for the audience and the entire story. I mean, I really don't see a big deal with going, this is the year 4078 or 2078. It really wouldn't make any difference to the audience. What we do know is that it's a date with more advanced technology, or a time that has more advanced technology, whether it's happening in the past or the present. Now, let's say that the date was never revealed because we didn't know. We would have known what the different timelines were, in season 1. Had they told us the date, we would have been able to figure out, who's in such and such date, and this happens 30 years prior, and all of that. Well, why not reveal it after we found out what was going on? When we found out it was more than one timeline, they still haven't confirmed the date. So that would not explain why the date is still a mystery. As well, some claim 2052, as seen on Adele's computer, was the date. Here's the problem with that. Whatever we saw, or the show wanted us to see, I don't believe was an accident. They wanted to reveal to us that this happened in 2052. Or I'm sorry, if they wanted to let us know that, they'd have just made that date known. People in the editing department, and the fact it showed up on the computer screen, I believe was to mislead us even further, as they've done prior in the series. So I don't think it's an Easter egg. So I don't believe this is happening in 2052. I think this is happening much further in our past. This is a cyclical chain of events going from advanced tech to primitive and onto our time now. So, what evidence do I have on that? Well, I think the secrecy is quite telling. Now, here's some interesting information we could consider where we've seen this kind of thing before. In the Matrix movies, we were led to believe that the year was 1999, when it was actually hundreds of years into the future. Had we known the actual date, it would have disrupted the entire movie and situation that occurred to create the Matrix. Where else have we seen this? We've seen this specifically with Battlestar Galactica, where they are in another part of the universe with what appears to be future and advanced technology, only to arrive at Earth and start the human history on Earth 150,000 years into our past, when humans finally are said to have shown up. And we also are, in the way the series is done, a human and Cylon union create what becomes the ancient ancestor of the human race on Earth. So Battlestar Galactica parallels Westworld already in many ways, with Cylons acting as humans, so we couldn't tell the difference, similar to Host in Westworld. But maybe you're still not convinced. Okay, let's look at who's part of the show. It's not only Chris Nolan's brother and Joy Nolan, but it's also J.J. Abrams as a producer. And where have we seen him creating twists like this before? Oh, that's right. The Lost series. We never could figure out what was going on with the Lost series, even years after it ended. So if the date is so important, folks, to keep us in the dark, it has to be something that will specifically affect us directly, and I don't think that would be the year 4000 or the year 10,000. Because that in actuality would probably make more sense to us than 2052 or 2022 or the 30-year span to create this host if we use the date 52. And if we found out it is dates such as those, I don't think we'll find anything worth hiding from us about that, as we're already expecting a time frame like that. Another subject to support the theory is we've never seen outside of Westworld. If, say, the year is 2052, why would there have been any reason not to show people entering or leaving the park into the real world? I mean, what would be the big deal of showing a future outside world if they've already given hints on the Delos computer of the year being 2052? They may as well then just show the outside world in a futuristic setting such as that. I don't think there would be a significant reason to keep us in the dark about what's happening outside the park. Some people say it's not even on Earth, or maybe it's on the moon or another planet. Okay, but I mean, would that still be a big deal in the year 2052? Because if we travel to the moon or we travel to another planet, I kind of would expect we could start colonizing other places in a future, maybe not quite that soon, but maybe not far after, maybe like 2100 or 2074. If they are on another planet and they never make it to Earth, then that would be interesting and kind of a twist, but it would somewhat not be so relative to us directly. Again, like when Battlestar Galactica took this approach, they tied it together to us. And so it became relative to our beginnings. So although this would parallel Battlestar Galactica a lot, I think it would be more relatable and shocking to us if we discovered that we were really some second set of humans that came from another set of human creators, and we developed into what they were, but as a second set. Now, that would suggest that we descended from hosts, that had a narrative and a backstory and made it onto developed consciousness. So that would be, I think, a huge shock to us. The problem, though, in my theory would be, okay, if hosts turned conscious and were our predecessors, then how did we cyclically go back into the Dark Ages or the Stone Ages or prehistoric times? Well, taken again from Battlestar Galactica, they didn't let that issue stop them. However, they had got rid of their technology. So if this were to be the case for this theory to work, the host would have to abandon all the information they had about life in the park. So maybe it could be that generations later they lose that knowledge or something to that effect. Also, we're not familiar with much more advanced groups existing on Earth prior to now. Or I'm sorry, we're not that unfamiliar, with advanced groups, that have existed prior, or we've heard the stories like of the Atlanteans and different stuff. So, that concept of or idea that there could be an advanced group and then, they go away and then we maybe descend from them or something along those lines, etc. But anyways, folks, let me know your thoughts. Maybe this sounds like total baloney, in which case it would be another fan theory gone horribly wrong and totally incorrect. But give us your thoughts. Let us know why you think this date is such a big deal, even now. All right, folks. Take care and analysis.